Gearheadgirl here. Today I thought I would show you guys how to install an appropriate fire extinguisher in your vehicle as deemed acceptable by Motorsport New Zealand. So before you go out and just get a fire bottle for your car, you want to make sure that it's actually one for a car. You can see the specifications on the bottle. You can cross-reference them with your manual. So in this case, because we're in New Zealand, we're going with the Motorsport New Zealand specifications. So this fire extinguisher, it's a powder fire extinguisher, it's approved for that. We also have our mount. Now with the car extinguishers, you want to make sure that you do have the 2 steel bands. You want the 2 bands and they need to be steel. And you also want minimum of 2 M6 8.8 bolts and nylock nuts and their corresponding washers. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So for this project, I'm going to be using 12mm socket for this EK3 Civic. Got a piece of scrap metal that we're going to mark with a Vivid or a Sharpie for you Americans. And of course, everybody's favorite death wheel to cut said bracket. And we'll go ahead and get started. When picking a place to mount your fire extinguisher, some people go under here, some people go down the side. We're going to go under the seat. It needs to be accessible within reach from the driver, and the gauge needs to be visible and pointing up. So we've got our bar here. I'm going to use the existing bolts for the car here. In this case, these are 12mm. But to go ahead, I'm going to take this piece of scrap metal and just mark it. So I'll go ahead and mark that on our bar. So you can see where I have marked the bar out, and we'll put it in a vise and cut it. And do the other side. We'll fire up our grinder and clean off the ends. Great. So now we'll go mark our bar for our holes. So now we got an idea of where the holes are going to go. So I'll go ahead and mark those with the Vivid. There's where we need to drill. We've marked our metal and we've got a drill bit, and we're just going to drill through and make the holes to mount it to the car. Alright, so we've got one side done. Now I'll go ahead and do the other. So now our bolt should go through, and we can put it in the car. Next step is to mount the actual fire extinguisher bracket to this piece of metal to bolt it in. So one thing to note when you're installing your fire extinguisher, you want to note how the seat can function and move. So obviously here, you're not going to be able to access or get to your fire extinguisher. So in this particular application, we are going to plan for the fire extinguisher being mounted and utilized when the passenger seat is all the way in the rear position. They don't need to reach the pedal, so it shouldn't be a problem. With this, you want to assure that your gauge is up, and you want to test mount it. You want to keep it clear of that, but also still within driver's reach. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and mark that where we want it. So I will we'll remove the fire extinguisher. We'll mark the drill holes. We've marked our 2 holes. I'm going to switch out the drill bit and we'll go ahead and get started. Now that we have our bracket ready to mount our pre-drilled holes, so we have our 8.8 M6 bolts, our washers, and nylock nuts. Alright, so we can actually go ahead and bolt this up. So we're going to take our 8.8 M6 bolt with a washer, slide through there, go through there, got another washer, put that on there, and complete it with our nylock nut. So I've got my 10 mil. And my 10 mil. So that's threaded on there. And we'll just do the same with the other one. We've got our 12 mil and our 2 12 mil bolts. So we'll mount up our bracket. And reinstall our fire extinguisher with the gauge pointed up. Sweet. So that's in there. We will do up our straps. And look at that. We're all done. Sweet. We have our floor mounted fire extinguisher with our gauge pointed up. Alright guys and gals, thanks for watching this episode of Gearheadgirl Garage. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you back for the next one. See ya. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and like and comment if you enjoyed this video. If you want to be awesome and provide support for better content, click on the Patreon link in the description below. Check us out online at gearheadgirl69.com or GHG69.com, or follow us on Instagram and TikTok at gearheadgirl69. So there's our extinguisher. Still have full seat, not lit. So we are good to go.